Welcome back. Great having you. I'd like to do a quick video today on the birth certificate fraud that has been going on for decades. And I guess that's not surprising when we look at the history of this government. That our federal government has just been atrocious. It's been horrible, going back to the late 1800s. And so when we look at the birth certificate fraud, I do believe that started happening around in the mid 30s, somewhere around there, early 1930s. And basically what they did was they used your birth certificate and they created basically a security, a bond that could be traded on like the stock market. And I have proof of that. And when you go back, and I recommend folks do this, by the way, don't just take my word for it. If you look at your driver's license, if you have a concealed carry permit, if you have your social security card, all these things, your name is all capitalized. And that means that it's been made into a corporation. The corporation is they call it an all caps name. It's a fiction. They've basically reduced us to a monopoly piece on the monopoly board, like the little sailboat or the race car. That's not who you are. That name is not who you are. They've created that fiction, that corporate fiction, so they can conduct commerce with you. And that's what they're trying to do with this admiralty law, is enforce this commercial law onto everybody, so they can transact business with you, basically take all your money and keep you enslaved and keep you in debt. Now, I sent away and I got my certificate of live birth. And that would basically be your birth certificate long form. And of course, I'm an older guy right now. And so my records are going back, okay? And like I said, it's called the certificate of live birth. And it's on like a it's on like a photocopied form. It's not a lot of color to it. It's just a plain white paper. And what's significant about it is that I noticed that my name is all capital. The first letter of William is a capital W, and then all the rest of the name William is lowercase, and that's how it should be, lowercase. That's your Christian name. And it's correct for my name as the child and my parents' name, my mother and father. It has the first letter of the name, first, middle, and last name. The first letter is capitalized, and all the rest of the letters are lowercase. And that goes for my mother and father and myself on the certificate of live birth. Now, when you send away for a birth certificate, especially nowadays, you're going to get this nice, colorful paper, and it's called the birth certificate, and you'll notice it has a nice red number on there. That's the bond. This is actually like a stock. This would be like a stock certificate. This is actually a security, or a copy of a security that was used to basically use you as collateral, so the crooks in our quote-unquote government could borrow money, because the country was bankrupt after the Civil War, and they went to the banksters in Europe and they wanted to borrow money. And they said, sure, we'll lend you money, but we need collateral. And these crooks that supposedly represent us committed treason, and they basically enslaved us. They used our physical bodies as collateral for the debt. And this whole system, especially since the Federal Reserve was set up for the third time in 1913, we've been in a whole heap of trouble. This whole Federal Reserve system is nothing but a debt vice. It's a horrible situation. And so, yeah, on my birth certificate, the name is all cap letters. Well, wait a minute. I actually was on the phone today with the whoever it was I called in the Vital Records Department in the state of my birth, and I said, and I inquired about that. I said, you're committing fraud. You're committing fraud on people every day. Your name on your certificate of live birth is correct, and then somewhere along the line, somebody's making a decision to convert your name into like a fiction. You have like an alter. You're actually two people. You're this live, living person, and then they've set up this corporate entity that they can manipulate you with. And then you consent to that action by getting a driver's license, getting your social security number, all those things that you do with the all caps name. You're agreeing to that. That's a contract now. You've signed you signing that, and you're saying, yeah, I'm agreeing to this. So they kind of got you over a barrel. Now, I think, and of course, you can, in the earlier videos, like I said, you can correct your status, and you can fight your way out of this mess by becoming a state national, an American national. You want to get rid of that United States citizen, that 14th Amendment citizen status that they've used to enslave people. That status is privileges. So what they've done is the pecking order of status is we have God, the Creator, created man. If you read in Genesis 1, God created man. Okay, and then so you have God at the top, and then you have man or woman would be number 2. 3, man created the Constitution. And then man, through the Constitution, created limited government. And then you have man, through the Constitution and the limited government, created bureaucrats. Well, what's happened through the crooked nature of corrupt mankind, the bureaucrats, the inferior, they're like 4 or 5 levels below man, the sovereign man that God created. They're like 4 or 5 levels below. They're the servant of the servants, the bureaucrats. And now what they're doing, they're creating a situation where it's basically an uprising, and they are trying to usurp the sovereignty of the man or woman, the living man or woman. Because your all caps name, it's a corporation. You exist on a piece of paper. It's dead. You don't exist. You're not living. You don't have a soul. So they're treating you as a dead entity that they can just cha-ching, nickel and dime you to death with fees, taxes, you name it, everything. And so I think all this works out when the NESARA GESARA finally gets announced. I'm hearing in July, and maybe it goes to August, September, who knows. And that's not going to happen like flipping a switch. They're going to have to retrain all these judges, all these police, the policy men. This whole system is infiltrated. that it's working against we the people, the sovereigns. This whole system is set up to work against the sovereigns. And you see it every day. Just look around you. Look at the southern border. Look at the medical field, the CDC and the NIH. They're telling you to get these injections that are going to kill you. Can you trust that? They've proven to be untrustworthy. Okay, and it goes on and on. Everything that they tell you is a big fat lie. Eventually, you might not know it. It might take 6 months to find out that that it's a big lie. They'll tell you the border's secure down in Mexico and Texas. You could look with your own eyes that it's not. So the point is, you really can't trust the people that say they rule over you. You're going to have to do your own due diligence and do your own research. So what I would say, just for your own peace of mind, why don't you contact your state of birth, the Vital Records Department. It'll cost you $15 and get your certificate of live birth with your lowercase name spelled out. Because I've been reading actually in court, if you ever get any kind of traffic problems or you end up in one of these traffic courts or whatnot, you just go in there with your certificate of live birth and say, look, I'm a living person. You have no jurisdiction over me. They only have jurisdiction over the fiction. Your all capital name, like on your driver's license. That's what they rule over. They don't rule over the sovereign, because your certificate of live birth, that means you're a sovereign. This is your kingship, your notice of kingship, of nobility. Okay? And the servants don't rule over the sovereigns without our consent. And unfortunately, people have been tricked into consenting. And so that's my message for today, is to not trust those that supposedly rule over you, and that really the trust has got to be between you and your Creator, because you have John 10:10, the thief, that's Satan, comes to steal, kill, and destroy, and he roams like a roaring lion, seeing who he can devour. So if you're not paying attention, and of course the schools don't teach anything, and that's not by accident, that's on purpose to dumb people down, and they make all the wording very corrupt on all these documents, and so my advice, what I would do is if what I know now, I would never sign a birth certificate. Never. I wouldn't get a Social Security card. I've already got the driver's license, but I'm going to be turning that in. I'm going to be getting rid of it. Don't need it. Same thing with the registration on the personal conveyance. But you got to wait till you get your passport. You got to wait till you get a corrected passport, so you can you send off your notices of corrected status, and there's places online that'll help you do that. A lot of groups. You get you order a new a new passport card, which I'm waiting on right now, and that's going to be your identification. And actually, I don't even want to carry that with me. People say, I want to see your ID. Well, why do I need an ID? I know who I am. People don't have a right to come up to you and say, who are you? And, where's your ID? That's ridiculous. You're king. You're sovereign. You don't. The peasants don't get to rule over you. There's the servants. They don't get to push you around. So that people are going to have to stand up if they want things to change. That's just the bottom line. And of course, you can volunteer everything away. You can keep volunteering all your stuff away, giving all your information up, signing all kinds of documents. But you're just really signing your sovereignty and all the rights away. And the government is not going to help you with that. They're going to say, sure, great, we'll rule over you. That's money because they charge you for everything coming and going. They keep you in debt and broke and scared, and so that's their ticket. That's their ticket. I'm trying to find out, and as a child of the King, I don't deserve to be enslaved by an inferior. The inferior being the servants. I'm a sovereign. I'm a child of the King, and my King doesn't want me enslaved. Anyway, I hope this gives you a little insight into the birth certificate fraud. And like I said, hopefully when the Chasara, this goes worldwide, supposedly the constitutional 1776 Constitution is going to go worldwide. And hopefully over the next few years, this stuff kind of washes out from the top. But in the meantime, it takes patriots and people with some guts to fight from the bottom up. Because the more people that get into this fight, you make it easier for people behind you to come in. And more of these government people are put on notice that, heck, there's a lot of these people out here. And they're not putting up with all the junk anymore. They're going to have to behave and follow the Constitution. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope this has been some help to you. And thank you so much for watching. Goodbye now.